Hello! Starting out, we've got the Vintage Vanity Cosmetics Smooth Like Butter Lip Balm. I always like to start off by using a lip balm or a moisturizer on my lips first. That way it's sort of set in if I come back around to do my lips. Then we are immediately going in. I'm not doing a full makeup look today. I'm just gonna kind of do like eyes and a little bit of blush. So I'm using the Gucci Silk Primer. Underneath, I'm going to do multiple layers of moisturizer and serums just to avoid getting dry or kind of cracking. It's the middle of winter here in the state that I live in, and it's really rough. The weather is really harsh right now. It's like single digit temperatures one day, and then it's like 50 and sunny today. So I've been really beating my skin up. So instead of doing like a huge, massive full face of different foundations and concealers and stuff, I'm just doing extra layers of moisturizer to do some running around. I'm reaching here for a second for my Prados Beauty mini LED mirror. I forgot to take it out of the box, so forgive my reach. I recently put in a large scale order with them, and they sent me a bunch of free stuff, so feel free to please go over and check out Prados Beauty. They're on Instagram and all over every social media. Again, here's showing the Gucci, the Silk Primer. I'm going to be moving from that into the FYN Glow Elixir. It's a face oil, a radiant face oil. I really love the smell of this and the feel of this. This also gives just like an extra layer of protection around the areas that I kind of am looking to make sure don't get dried out or don't get cakey during the day. Like I said, it's been a really rough winter here so far. My skin has really been suffering, so I'm kind of just doing extra layers of different things that I've noticed working throughout the day with me as I go. Kind of slowly been replacing all of my skincare stuff with FYN because I recently found them on Threads, and they're just, everything has been exceptional so far. The packaging is super nice. All of the products are better than I expected them to be. The price point is very affordable. And they have a really great selection of different body butters, body lotions, face lotions, different scented stuff, face cleanser. Showing you here is the collagen boosting serum. I'm going to use a little bit of that around my under eyes and along my cheekbones where I had been having some dry areas like I was talking about before. Again, I can't talk about how nice and how beautiful the FYN beauty stuff has been. They are just, as a whole company, it is all so beautiful and so stunning. I don't know how to explain it. I've already recorded this version of the video 2 separate times independently because I don't know how to explain how much I love this stuff. It's just been so nice to my skin. And I'm noticing in less than basically like 3 weeks of use, 2 weeks of use with some products, that it's completely turned around my skin and how beautiful it was. Like, I was using nicer stuff before, I thought, but I think it had a lot more filler and like unnatural stuff in it because using this in a few days, I just noticed that my skin was getting happy and was really enjoying itself. Here we have the Kiko Milano Universal Concealer Stick in 01. It's their lightest shade. And I'm just going around to the areas that were mad with the ingrown hairs and into my under eye area, and just kind of blending it out a little bit with my finger to start, just to see where it gets cakey, because I noticed that some of those areas were really dry, so I'm kind of just adding this again on top. The Kiko Milano one specifically, the formula of it works really well with the way that my skin moves throughout the day, so instead of like breaking up and getting mad, it does really well. And then going in with a flat foundation brush. And a few years ago, I remember seeing an internet tutorial about like looking up while you do your under eyes, and it kind of fills in the spaces different. So sometimes I use a flat foundation brush, and sort of just cake that down and tap that down as I go and sort of move it around. And then Again, this is mostly all going to be covered with a few different shimmers and a few different like a liner and stuff, so I'm not really that worried about how it looks. It's kind of more of a base to do the things that I was talking about as we go on to the next step. Since I've done the moisturizer and the concealer, I'm going to go in with my Pacifica. This is the Pacifica Beauty Vegan Collagen Hydrating Setting Mist. I really love this stuff. I have quite a lot of stuff from Pacifica, and this is not my first bottle of this setting spray. Really enjoy how it feels. It just sort of adheres itself to my makeup, I've noticed, and then is immediately doesn't budge. Like everything just really sets up and has a really natural feel. It doesn't really blur like people say that some setting stuff does, but I feel like if you did powder foundations on top of your stuff, it would blur and it would help with that. I'm not currently doing much for powder stuff. I do use a powdered blush. And then going in, what was just shown there is the NYX, it's the glitter primer. I'm doing that just on my eyelid to get the Multichrome that we're going to be using here to stick like glue and have it set down. This, I always kind of do one side and make sure that it's moved around, and then do the other side and make sure that it's moved around, and then go from there and let everything sort of set and dry down a little bit. You don't want this to be like freshly put on and then you put on your shadow onto it. I've noticed that if you do that, it gets really cakey and everything starts to crease on you, or it does on me at least. I have heavily hooded eyelids, so I have to be really careful when I'm applying certain shimmers and stuff like that. If I don't do it correctly, it will just immediately fold and then crease on me. But I've had a lot of good luck with this NYX. It's not the only glitter primer that I have, but it's kind of the less expensive one that I go to more frequently. I'm going to be moving on to a different company soon, though. Coming up, my go-to duochrome multichrome today. This is FRB from Lethal Cosmetics. It's a fast radio bursts. This was one of the first things that I had ever ordered from Lethal. This is my second one. It is a yellow to gold to green and then almost bluish kind of turquoise multichrome. It starts out as like a gold and a yellow, but then you get different sort of shimmers and different kind of color tones as you're in different lights and in different areas. Like one of the reasons I really like the Lethal stuff is it's really good. You can either just do a very simple layer and then you still get the same effect, or you can do multiple like versions of them together, and then you can just get so much variation out of their product. I usually tend to do either a black base underneath this, or a yellow base underneath this, or a gold matte underneath this, and then do the duochrome. But I really have been enjoying how it feels almost green. If you do it just by itself, it feels almost green, but then gold at the same time. I think when I'm moving my eyes around here at the end, you can kind of tell what I mean, but it's really hard to tell. I'm using normal LED lights in this video, but then in the last section of the video, I show a bright white LED that's in our bathroom. So you're going to get like a sort of different image of like how you can see the duochrome there. But I know that a lot of people use brushes for duochromes, but I just go in with my finger with certain ones. Like they're coming up here soon, I reach into the Juvia's Place palette that I have, and with that I use a brush. But when it comes to several different versions of the duochromes and multichromes that I have, I've noticed if you use a brush, they just don't work quite right. So I go straight in with my finger and kind of move everything around. Again, I'm going to be doing heavy blush, so the placement on like my cheek and like the side of my eye doesn't necessarily matter, because I'm also going to be doing kind of a heavy highlight, I think. At this stage, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with the rest of the face. I just knew that I wanted to feature FRB from Lethal Cosmetics like right in the front, because that's sort of been my spring. It's not spring yet, but that's been like my summoning spring winter color. Right now it's been kind of rough to experience. So I'm telling myself spring's here already. Also, excuse the cutaway back there. There's the Juvia's Place. This is the Garden of Juvia's palette. It's the Pastel Duochrome Easter palette. First, I'm going in with Daffodil. Also, pardon the cutaway back there. I had forgotten to grab a makeup wipe or a towel, one of the makeup removing towels. So I had to cut the video really quick to get in there. And I'm putting Daffodil just very, very lightly in my inner tear duct, like inner corner area. Different people call it different things. I just wanted to give a little bit of a like greenish sort of yellow burst that's a little bit of different gradient. Again, it's kind of hard to see in this video, but in person, these two duochromes are really, really different. They're in theory really similar because it's a yellow to a green. I think it's just a duochrome in the Juvia's Place, but I feel like these complement both of the palettes that I have from Juvia's Place. All work super, super well with, well, I don't just have two, I have more than one, but more than two, but there's, yeah, the ones that I have work so well with the Lethal Cosmetics stuff that I have a hard time not using them together when I use them. And there's a lot of duochromes and a lot of shimmers that overlap, but they're not similar. They're just sort of, they have like same tones or same sort of gradients or values, I guess. So going in then with Marigold with a flat liner brush, sort of like a pencil liner brush for a lip liner, I think, and taking and doing just a matte yellow wing very, very, very lightly in kind of the darker, it's called Marigold shade in the Garden of Juvia's palette. Again, I just kind of wanted to give a tiny, tiny amount of like variation of color in there. I was kind of mostly trying to show off the Lethal Cosmetics shade in the middle, but adding a tiny bit of the shade on the side. Here is the We Are Fluid Otherworldly palette. I'm throwing a tiny bit of the Andromidaze glitter shimmer shade from there in there, throwing that just very quickly to diffuse. I don't know why I showed off this Morphe brush. I didn't show off any of the other brushes, but use a combination of a bunch of different brushes. I'll have them listed in the description of what brand they are, but if you're curious about which one's which, you can ask in the comments and I'll just go ahead and tell you the numbers of them. I have a lot of brushes. I have them open in sort of like a paint bucket makeup holder where it has pockets on the sides, so they go all around the sides, and right off of camera I can kind of see all of them and I can reach through and grab them. That's why it seems like I'm sort of just grabbing them very easily. They're all sort of at my disposal right in front of me, even if you can't see them. There's a lot of different ones, and I didn't think to showcase them while I was doing, because I was just kind of, by this point, was just sort of moving through, and I wanted to blow out, take that Andromidaze shade from the We Are Fluid and use this tiny little liner brush to fill in right underneath my waterline on my lower lash line, just to give a different kind of a color accent. I'm going to go in with a gel, waterproof gel liner pen in a second here and do my actual waterline and my inner line and stuff, and then throw a little bit on my lashes. I was going to do mascara today, but I'm worried about, with the sun being out and allergies being around, that I was going to be struggling with that. Been trying to avoid putting stuff in my eyes recently because allergies have been really bad with the weather being as odd as it has been. So just You can see the orange a little bit there. I feel like it kind of gets washed in the yellow, as bright as the yellow is. But then when I add the Maybelline, this is the Maybelline Tattoo Studio in Orange Flash, and I'm going to use that on my waterline very, very, very lightly, just to fill out the kind of orange and give it, with the gold and the yellow on the top, having a light orange, or like a palette, you know, like a pastel sort of flat orange within the same sort of color story. And I'm not minding that. So I've been doing that quite a bit recently. Like I said, I'm channeling spring instead of falling into the winter. I'm just doing like blues and silvers and stuff like I did last year. I'm trying to avoid that and instead doing bright greens and bright yellows and blues and purples. Purple's usually my go-to, but I'm trying to lean away from my comfort levels and try to do different things, step outside. When I do my waterline, I really try to kind of take my time and fill in each area and then pull from different directions on each area. So if I like went one side to the next, like the next time I'll go to the other eye and then do it from the opposite direction, so it's filled all the way out. And then sort of fill out the lashes here and kind of pull down along my lashes just a little bit so it kicks them just the tiniest amount. Again, usually would use a small amount of mascara. This is the Laura Mercier Rose Gold Caviar Stick. I always get them in the travel sizes. They have a larger size and then they have a smaller size. It's so much product that I always get the travel size, and this rose gold, like, it will last longer than you can use it. Like, you can use it everywhere. I've used this as a highlighter on my lids. Right now I'm just putting it in my brow bone and then smudging it out with my finger because, like I said, I want it to be like dewy and sort of just look shimmery today all over. You'll notice when I get to my highlighter here that I'm not minding being shimmery and glowy and essentially looking like a glazed donut, like was the owner of FYN when I explained to her what I wanted to do with my skincare regimen during the winter. She was like, yes, full glazed donut status, and that's what we're going for essentially. So just sort of checking out that, the brow bone, letting you all see it. I like how that looks. The rose gold is basically just like my skin tone. They have a lot of different colors of that one, but that's the last one of those I'm going to purchase as well. I'm leaning on to using other companies. There's a lot of really good companies right now that are releasing like stick eyeshadows, and I don't use that many of them anyways, so kind of leaning away from buying that stuff. Going in, since we've moved around and let the Lethal Cosmetics sit, I'm just going back in with it on my pinky and filling out areas where I tend to crease and then smoothing it over in those areas. So as we move around throughout the day, when I'm gone, it will just filling in that area, just a double check. I always do that again before doing my cheeks if I need to wipe anything off my cheeks, since I don't have anything other than moisturizer, like if I get fallout or anything like that. Up next, we have the One Size 3D Cheek Clapper. It's the blush trio from One Size. This is the shade Very That. When I get ready to open this up here, you're going to have to forgive me. It is panned. It has merely a few uses left out of the powder, the middle part. If you haven't tried these One Size things, they are absolutely incredible. It is a cream blush, then a powder blush, and then a highlighter in this same sort of gradient of tones that should work with most. Each version can work with different skin tones in different ways depending on how you do your blush. I picked this one for a winter tone, and it's like I'm using the cream blush first, and I kind of go a little bit massive with that. I kind of like to do my temples, I start like high up on my cheekbone and then come down onto my, I'll do a little on my nose and kind of go all the way down, sort of in like a halo around the middle of my face. Like I said, that's pretty panned. It's more than a few uses, but it's definitely had some love. I have a few other blushes that I use all of the time, but this is one of those ones that I would carry with me in my bag during any season, and it's just unbelievable. It has a little mirror, and everything about it's perfect. Everything about these one size products, like every single product that I've tried from them, is just fantastic. Like people say, drag queens know what they're doing. They know how to do it, and they are unbelievable. Every single thing that they do that I've tried. I haven't tried every single thing from them, obviously, but I went through more than one bottle of the Go Off makeup removing spray when it came out, and it's one of those things that I don't often fall in love with a product and say like this is like the one thing that I want to do, this specific thing. Like I like to try different stuff, but the Go Off makeup dissolving mist was just like an absolute like holy grail of products. I don't usually like using those terms, but just the best product for makeup removing that I had ever experienced, and then left my skin feeling a certain type of way after. I have literally this week commented on one of One Size's posts saying that I missed that product, and when they did a makeup reveal for something else this week, I was like, I was hoping it was this, and I'm not trying to be annoying about it, but it's one of those ones where like every few months I do go and say like, hey, you need to come back with that. And then here is the Fenty Beauty, the Killawatt Foil Highlighter. I am going into the pink shade 7-Day Weekend, and there's like a light blue and then a pink in there. This is also seen its better days. It has a lot of use, a lot of love, and should be retired, but we're not. That's not a conversation for today. I didn't use much of the blue at all. Like it actually kind of still has its indent originally in it. Because whenever I used the blue, it just looked like a bruise on me. Like even if I used a very small amount, it just bruised. It looked like I had been karate chopped in the side of the face. And I'm not going for that anymore. I haven't gone to hardcore shows like that in a few years. I still go to shows, but I don't go to shows like that anymore. So we're not trying to look like we got jumped in the pit. But going in with that 7-Day Weekend from the Killawatt Foil Fenty Beauty highlighter again. Like I said, it was like knew how much I was using for blush because I knew that I wanted to blow it out with a lot of highlighter after, and I really like these two tones together. Like I've used them a lot, so I know how they look on my skin and how they sit. And then finally going in with the Pacifica, that's the vegan, the collagen boosting hydrating mist. And then, like Trixie Mattel said, there's no look that's complete without your scents. So I have the floral tag, August, September. There, Over the Campfire. And then there, Gourmand Angel, which I actually ordered as a sampler for my last order, but then I have since put in for a full order because I need a full-size bottle of that. It is unbelievable. It smells so beautiful. And then going back in with the vintage Vanity Cosmetics Smooth Like Butter Lip Balm, just to kind of finalize. Try to extra hydrate my lips. Like I was thinking about doing a liner and then doing like a kind of a light pink lip with that. One of the ones that I have has some pH or SPF protection in it. Instead of doing that, I just went ahead and did some extra layers of the lip balm because that stuff is beautiful. And here I changed into the clothes that I wore out of the house, a beanie and a big giant oversized sweater thing, kind of glimmery and shows everything on the cheeks and stuff. You can see the eye. And then here in the bathroom shows in the bright LED light the gradient of the eye. If you made it this far into the video, go ahead and comment "I love you" in the comments. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Bye.